In a previous video, we introduced vector data in QGIS, and we downloaded a data set. Here are the state forest boundaries for Minnesota. I'm going to go over how to change the color and inquire and gather information about this data set, and also the structure of the data set a little bit. All spatial data have both a geographic component and a tabular component or table component. So we can right-click on any data layer in the table of contents here on the left side of our view and open the attribute table. The attribute table then has a series of attributes with a name across the top and an entry for the number down the side. And this table has lots of entries, one for each of these forests. So the rows are the name of the forest, some identifying number, the number of acres, the perimeter in feet, and then a shape length and a shape area. These are typically in the coordinate system of the base data themselves. These might not match because the coordinate system might not be measured in the same units as a calculation of an area. We have to be careful for things like these shape lengths and shape areas because they sometimes don't get recalculated when you change the data. So you just have to be careful to know that things aren't automatically updated all the time, or even most of the time. I can close this by clicking here in the corner, and I can look at any particular entry by left-clicking on this Identify Features button, the dot with the arrow in it, and then clicking on a particular entity, in this case this feature at the top, and it shows me its Pine Island State Forest and lists those values, its acres, its perimeter, the shape length, shape area, and of course the name. So I can go around and take a look at any of these, and you'll see it updates the Finland State Forest or the Pat Bale State Forest or the Grand Portage State Forest. So that's the shape of the data, the sort of format or structure of the data. And if I want to deselect all, I can just left click. So I have each of these state forest boundaries with individual different state forests. I can right click and change the properties then and select a different color for all of them if I want. So maybe I'm more partial to a little bit blue or green or aqua color. So I'm going to pick that and OK and apply. And we see then that we have a change in the color for each of the features. I can change other properties besides the color for each of the polygons. So I can change in the simple fill here the kind of line or color of line. So I can change it to a yellow line, right? And I can change its width, and I could make it a non-solid line. If I apply that and say OK, ooh, that's quite ugly and not very informative, but you see it's changed how it's painted. I could also, if I wanted, change the individual way they are applied, the colors that is, or symbology. So rather than all getting the same, I can make them categorized based on the name. So each different one gets a different name. Each polygon with a different name gets a different color, I should say. And so I can go to a simple fill, right, and pick a base color, and then the stroke color I want to make for all of them black. Oops. Okay. Notice that you can get stuck with these panels in the background. Instead of a dotted line, I want to go back to a solid line. Right? I'm going to make it a little less thick. I can say OK and apply. Oops, first I have to classify to add the values and then apply. And so here I have then all of the different types, because it's finding them in the name and giving them a different color based on that name. So if I go ahead and say this is OK and close it, you see now I have a different color differentiating the different forests in a better way than before. Now again, this isn't a very pretty map, and the point isn't to show you how to make a pretty map, but rather show you how to change the colors. So that's how you symbolize vector data. It's just an introduction. There's a lot to it. We'll probably have future videos on various aspects, but that'll at least get you started in getting them colored.